Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Games and Things. Football season is here. What could be better than turning on the Vols game with you and your friends all lounging in brand new, comfortable, affordable home theater seats from Games and Things. That's where I got my last two home theater seats, and they're fantastic. Be good to your rump. Home theater seats from Games and Things. You'll be happy you did all football season long. Games and Things. All right. ESPN this week had a writer that ranked the 100 best college football coaches of the last 50 years. They listed Johnny Majors 50th. They listed Philip Fulmer 49th. I think it's appropriate they're close together, but we can debate the order, so let's quickly do so. Fulmer ahead of Majors on your guys' list, or Majors ahead of Fulmer on your guys' list?
I would have Majors ahead of Fulmer because of what he did before he got to Tennessee. He didn't win a national championship at Tennessee. Iowa State, Pittsburgh, where he does win a national championship and then brings Tennessee back from virtually the dead. So no, I would put Majors ahead, but I'm like the list says, they're right here with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, very comparable for obvious reasons, but I would go Majors then Fulmer because of the multiple programs.
Vince, where you go?
Same thought. I think it's very close because you do have to weigh that championship and the consistency of winning versus the difficulty of what he did in resurrecting those other two programs, doing it 3 times and then doing it at Tennessee. I think it's very close, but I would give Majors just a slight edge.
I'm surprised everybody here went with Majors. I figured we'd have a little bit of a debate. No debate, that's okay, we'll move ahead. But again, I think they are close together.
Right. The 95 to 99 run, if you want to look at just ultimate dominance, that advantage goes to Philip Fulmer.
And if you wanted to flip it the other way and just look at who had the best team, you'd probably go to that Major 76 team that went undefeated and beat the SEC champ in the Sugar Bowl. So yeah, it's pretty good in terms of. Fulmer should get credit for having the better run at Tennessee, but he took it over here and left it here, whereas Majors took it over here and left it here. They should be close. I would just have Majors a little ahead of Fulmer. But here's where it goes completely off the rails in my book. Let's take a look at this list. These are just the SEC coaches. I'm not even getting into the fact that, as Vince said, Mark D'Antonio is ranked ahead of Majors and Fulmer on this stupid list. But here are the SEC guys who are ahead of Majors and Fulmer. All right, and what you see there, that's conference titles and then / national titles. So Les Miles, basically the same record as Philip Fulmer in terms of accomplishments. He's ahead of both those guys. Shug Jordan, who most of you probably don't remember, won conference title in the SEC at Auburn, won national title, but he's ranks ahead of Fulmer and Majors, who built 3 programs. Sorry, I'm throwing a challenge flag. Vince Dooley, I get that, 6 SEC titles before Spurrier is the second best coach in the conference. That makes sense. Mike Leach, folks. Anybody here trading Mike Leach for Majors or Fulmer?
Nope.
Let's talk about the stupidity of that. I'm sorry. Anybody have an argument that could put Leach ahead of these guys?
No.
Well, in that article, one of the things they referenced for Johnny Majors to maybe bring him down is the fact that he had some lean years at Iowa State, and that brought his record down.
And at Pitt. And at Tennessee when he started.
Right, correct. And so that brings down his overall record. Well, Mike Leach has had that as well. And if you look at the margin of wins versus losses, Johnny Majors actually has a larger win percentage of more wins than losses than Mike Leach does. So you're not going to dock Leach because he's taken over in
bad programs.
But then Johnny Majors did that,
right?
And you're going to dock him? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it at all. Mike Leach also, I guess he was a few years ago, but he hasn't been wanted by the major programs, right? So there's a reason for that.
And Tennessee only was the last major program to want Leach. Only wanted him in the middle of a disaster.
Right.
So okay. If it hadn't been for a riot, Leach wouldn't have been on this list. Let's go to the list again here. Danny Ford, of course, now he was successful at Clemson. So, all right, he had 5 ACC titles. He did coach at Arkansas, and people remember the hope he tear up a knee out there about Heath Shuler. When would that have been, 92, 93? I'm dating myself. Mark Richt. Okay, I can see where he and Fulmer are contemporaries. They went toe-to-toe. Both won 2 SEC titles, but aren't we basing this on something tangible? And if you are, one guy had a national title, one guy doesn't. How is Richt 15 spots ahead of Philip Fulmer. How is he ahead of Johnny Majors at all?
I'd be curious, Georgia fans' reaction to him being 9 spots ahead of Vince Dooley.
That's a great point. Yeah.
I think win percentage is one of the things that jumped out when I was looking at that list. So that might be where they kind of lean, but it's just inconsistent on who that's a plus for and who's not. There's also, John, beyond these SEC names, I think there's some on the FCS level and maybe some Division II, Division III guys on there ahead of Fulmer and Major.
Yeah, there's a St. John's guy. I never realized that St. John's ever had football. It may be a St. John's, Minnesota or something, but St. John's, Mount Union has a guy. Ken Sparks from Carson Newman was actually 88th on the list, just slightly behind Majors and Fulmer. But he was a great coach, and congratulations to him at his level.
Eddie Robinson was on that list, so I get that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't get Mark Richt that 15 slots ahead of Fulmer or Majors. Jimbo Fisher, 3 ACC titles. Okay, let him win a second national title. We can talk. Pat Dye, this guy wrote about how, his teams in the late 80s were the beast of the SEC. I'm like, what do you mean when he was tying with Tennessee every year for the championships and in games? What? I'm guessing there were 2 beasts in the SEC every year. Steve Spurrier, this one really ticked me off too. Steve Spurrier was 13th on this list. Steve Spurrier won at Duke. Steve Spurrier won at Florida, where the only person who'd ever won there before got blown up in the NCAA scandal. Then he goes to South Carolina, completely changes his system and wins there. He won 7 SEC titles, 1 national championship, but he's behind Bill Snyder at Kansas State. Are you kidding me? I mean, granted, Bill Snyder was at one school for 156 years. Congratulations to him. But Steve Spurrier should be way, way up on that list. Anyway, you go through the rest of it. You got Urban Meyer was 5th behind Tom Osborne, Bobby Bowden, Bear Bryant was 2nd, and Nick Saban was 1st with 7 national championships. But anyway, I just thought Fulmer and Majors really got screwed on this list. That's ridiculous.
Yes. I actually think that after you get past Steve Spurrier, I would move up Vince Dooley behind him next in the SEC. Then, to me, Fulmer or Majors, that's where they should be falling in, is right in there, right after you get past Spurrier, you get past Dooley, and then somewhere in that group, not 49th and 50th.
No, it's insane. That's just Mike Leach.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If you're going to write a list, come up with a decent list. And we'll be doing our own list later in the show that you can argue about. All right, when we come back, UT is actually honoring Johnny Majors. We'll talk about that next. They're honoring Alvin Kamara. We'll talk about that next. But are they doing enough to honor Josh Heupel? I'll explain some media guide talk next. We're back on the Sports Source.